Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I'm Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are breaking down the Detroit Lions 2024 NFL Draft. It was a lot of fun to watch. Detroit hosts, and I thought they did a great job putting on just a great show in the city as well. So it's going to be fun breaking down their selections. But before we do that, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe to the Tracy Take, and tackle that bell to get notified when new Lions videos come out. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the start of the 2024 NFL season. Then when the season starts, we're going to have weekly prediction videos for all the Lions games, so you're not going to miss out on those. So go ahead, like this video, subscribe, and Ryan, thank you for pulling up the slide here. Lions ended up moving up in the first round of the draft, jumped over their hated rivals, the Green Bay Packers, and selecting Terrion Arnold. I think this was a great move. I've confidently felt that the Packers were going to end up taking Terrion Arnold. He turned out to be the clear number two. Maybe even number two is maybe 1B, 1A, 1B with him and Quinton Mitchell, because I think both those guys stood out as the top corners, obviously, in this class. So ended up getting them. Did sacrifice a third-round pick, and we'll get to that here in a second. But in general, though, really love this fit. Lions secondary, they obviously working on that front seven. The defensive front seven, I think, is extremely solid with Aiden Hutchinson leading the way. Addressed linebacker position with Jack Campbell last year. And so I think addressing the secondary as well, again, Terrion Arnold, I think is a great addition to this team.
Yeah, he was one of the top corners in this class. Personality-wise, definitely a fan favorite as well. And so I like what he brings to the table. I think he's going to be the starting, like probably number one corner there next to Carlton Davis for a little while. And I just like what he brings to the table. Very versatile, can play man, can play zone, a really solid athlete as well. So I really like this pick. I think he's a good fit and definitely not afraid to help out in the run game either.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be fun with him, especially then as well with their next pick. Secondary was definitely the focus for the Lions here in this draft. So, again, Enos Rakestraw out of Missouri. Really like this pick. And he was a guy I honestly thought could have gone up higher as well here. Just watching his film, you go look at his stats, didn't even allow, I think, 200 receiving yards in the 9 games he played this year. In an SEC, that's very impressive. And so essentially just kind of offenses would figure out which side of the field he's on and be like, okay, we're going to throw it the other way. So I think you pair him up with Terrion Arnold. I think that is going to be a phenomenal combination. And then as well, with how good this defensive front is now, if you get lockdown corners like these two guys, can really move them around. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this Lions defense in 2024.
Yeah, definitely. And so this is the third addition to the secondary that they've made just with draft capital, taking into consideration the Carlton Davis pick. So definitely.
Well, go ahead.
Definitely some good depth that's going to be established there. And so I like it. I think definitely they realized that was a big need for them. They didn't have a great pass defense last year as well. So
and that's where I think it's very unique, and it's honestly, you go look at the team, like offensively, they don't really need much in the skill position player rooms. I think James Williams is developing. It took longer than all of us expected, but like he's developed into like that good number 2 receiver. Monroe St. Brown is clearly there to stay. You got a nice fat paycheck. Congratulations. Running back room, offensive line, you got your quarterback as well. You got your tight end. Offensively, it was like, where did you really want to improve in? Then on the same time as well, defensive line is phenomenal. They made a lot of great moves at free agency. So it makes sense too. Like secondary was our weakness. We're just going to make sure that we have now lockdown corners for the future. And I know they used 4 top 100 picks to get 3 secondary cornerbacks specifically. But that being said, though, I really like all 3 of the corners that they got. I think they're going to come in and help contribute immediately. So let's move on now to, honestly, probably the fan favorite, I would say, of everybody's draft, because nobody knew who this guy was. But Giovanni Manu, huge guy. No, I'd never even heard of this guy before.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest.
I only heard of him because he went on a top 30 visit to the Patriots as well.
Oh, really? I see why they would want to talk with him, because it's just a huge guy up in Canada. And so I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see how he develops here. A future tight end, a future red zone tight end, it looks like, for the Detroit Lions. And so that's a joke, just with everything. Yeah.
With Taylor Decker. Yeah, I get it.
You know what I'm talking about. So anyways, but then I really like these next 3 picks. These guys, I think, were either close to top 100 grades for us or just outside. But again, Sione Makai Wingo, and then Chris Mahogany as well. Again, all these guys on day 3. I think that is tremendous value. I'm very curious to kind of see why some of these guys fell, but that happens in the draft. Guys fall, and we have going into the draft as top 100 or close to top 100 picks.
Yeah, and I like the value here. The one thing that it is really concerning is just, I mean, the NFL teams passed on these guys over and over and over again, and especially Mekhi Wingo and Christian Mahogany. Sione Vecai, I thought, could fall a little bit because he's not the most effective safety. To me, his biggest interest was the fact that he's also a running back as well, and so that to me was kind of the intrigue there. But I'm curious to see why these guys really fell, and that to me just it was interesting because these were guys that looked good on tape, and so.
Well, we'll find out. Come see their performance in the fall, see how much playing time that they get. But in general, though, for my evaluation of them, I thought that these were great values, and so that's why I kind of lead into the grade. We had a little bit of a different disparity overall in the grades, but I thought the Lions had one of the better draft classes. They clearly had one glaring weakness, which was going to be that secondary, and they absolutely addressed it. When I think not only that too, I think if you double dip in areas, it can maybe be a little bit of question marks, but when you go get great talents like Terrion Arnold, Enos Rakestraw, and Carlton Davis as well, I don't think that's going to be an issue for them in the future.
That was my issue with this draft. Like, if you had told me that like they got Terrion Arnold in the first round after drafting or trading for Carlton Davis, I would have understood. But then like the Enos Rakestraw pick, I just makes no sense to me. In the sense of like I know you need corner depth, but like you could have swapped out him for an edge rusher and then taken a corner later in the draft to get a little bit more depth there. And that to me was the biggest thing. You spent all of your top 100 picks on corners. And so like I felt like you could have spread out the picks a little bit more in that aspect of things. And I was weighing the top 100 picks more than the day 3 picks. And so I wanted to be consistent, even though I do think they got good value on day 3. And that to me just kind of made this feel like a little bit below average in just the fact that like, all right, you got 3 corners, but you also needed an edge rusher to go opposite of Aiden Hutchinson as well. So that was my big thing.
They did spend in the free agency. They did go get Marcus Davenport, and they got another defense tackle that was in there as well.
DJ Reader. Both those, but so like Marcus Davenport was a first round pick, but he's been largely lackluster in his NFL career. He struggled a lot with injuries. Like that to me is just like you didn't really like. Yes, you addressed the one need, and one of these guys will probably work out for you. And I hope they do. It's just now. I also think you still have those other needs.
I also think as well, if you go and look at their division, though, I mean, you're going up against the Green Bay Packers team with very versatile receivers as well. You now go look at this Bears offense. You got 3 stud receivers and Moore, Allen, and now Odunze. And the Vikings still got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And those guys are 3 receivers and 2. Essentially, like they're that good. So I think having versatile guys that you can move around, maybe disguise your defenses as well. I think that's what's going to be interesting to see how the Lions develop overall and develop these guys for the future.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Definitely, I think 2 different looks at this draft class. But I think all in all, they added good players, and that's really all you can ask for coming out of a draft. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of the Detroit Lions draft class. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And on that, we'll see you guys next time.